Hey guys, welcome back to the Learning GT Cars series. In this series, I'm going to learn how to drive GT cars by going through ACC's career mode. In the last episode, it was round 1 at Zolder, and it was epic, so make sure to check it out. Before we get to the race weekend, the team has organised a test at Brands Hatch. The track hasn't rubbered in thanks to a track day in the previous weekend. You sure the rain hasn't washed it away? You try and tell me that it's gone a whole week without raining in the UK? For those of you who don't know, Brands Hatch is the track I learned to drive at in Project Cars 2, in the Janessa Junior, so I have a little experience in GT cars around here. I spent the first couple of laps getting used to the track, and then I started pushing a little more. I was finding it really hard to stay in track limits, and I only set one valid lap because I kept going wide into turn 1. So let me take this time to tell you about the biggest differences between F1 and GT cars. The first thing is the weight. F1 cars weigh about 800 kilos, but GT cars weigh between 1,200 and 1,300 kilos. Second is the grip. Most of F1 cars' grip comes from the downforce, so the floor, front ring and rear ring create most of it. GT cars mostly use mechanical grip. The suspension and tyres make most of that. Also the ride height. Most of the time, you want the car to be as low as possible, so the centre of gravity is lower, which gives you more mechanical grip. I've had to get used to this while driving GT cars, and when I went back to F122 after the second episode of this series, I really saw the difference in grip. Moving on to the race weekend. So, you guys know how every episode I have some sort of problem with my recording. Well, this time it was my own fault, because I forgot to clear some space on my computer, so there wasn't enough to record. I did manage to get my spin on camera though. After I spun, my recording staff decided there was space to record, and I managed to get the second half of practice. I think this was my favourite session so far. Maybe it's because I didn't have to learn the track, so I was just getting used to the car. I'm not sure, but it was really fun. Nothing very exciting happened for the rest of the session, so let's move on to quali. I only got 30 seconds as quali on my recording, but fortunately I saved the recording on the game. I wasn't feeling as comfortable with the car and track as I would have liked, but I had to suck it up and try to set some good laps. The first few laps were uneventful, but at the beginning of lap 3, going into turn 1, I outbraked myself and went off the track. Nothing too exciting happened for the next few minutes, until I carried a bit too much speed into the final corner and went off. P2 was improving every lap, so I knew I had to do one more if I wanted pole. A Ferrari passed me as I was rejoining the track, and I knew I was faster than him, so I was trying to overtake. Now, with hindsight, this move was probably a little too aggressive for qualifying, but as we came up to the fastest corner of the track, I attempted the move, and then this happened. I clipped the grass on the inside, which sent me careering off the track into the barrier, and not only had I destroyed my own session, I had also destroyed the Aldi's and P2 session, because I think he was on a lap and he only had to improve by a few hundreds. Now usually I would just start the car up again and go, but for some reason I completely forgot which buttons I had assigned, because I had remapped a few so that it was easier to press on my computer. I was very lucky not to collect any other cars, and after a minute or two I was making my way back to the pits. After that terrible end to the first quali, I was ready for the second qualifying. So as usual, I pulled out of the pits. I don't know how else you would start the session. My lights were on and wouldn't turn off, so that was great. On lap 3, I went off at the fast right where I crashed before, but I didn't get any damage. This session was pretty boring, so here's a music montage to make it more exciting. I somehow managed to put my car on pole by just 700ths. I don't think I could have gone much faster, but anyway, let's jump into race 1. Starting on pole for race 1, I don't get the best start and the Audi gets passed on the outside going into turn 1. I didn't really want to fight it too much because I knew that he was faster than me. I tried a late lunge going into turn 3, but he defends and now I have the Lambo behind to worry about. Following in the dirty air was really tricky and I almost went off, but then coming into this long left I started to gain on the Audi. I thought better than to send it down the inside on the fast right after quali. I get a good run on him but not good enough, and I can't go down the inside, but I brake a tiny bit too late and go a little wide at the apex, which cost me some time. I get an amazing run coming out of the final corner and I'm gaining so fast, but the AI takes this really weird line to shorten the distance coming to the line. They go right over to the inside wall and then swerve over to the left, and as I pull out to overtake, he does exactly that and I have to back off. On the second to last corner, I touch the grass on the outside and go a little wide, but fortunately not onto the grass and I lose a chunk of time. Then I knock over all the orange bollards in the final corner. I was pushing really hard now and was setting fastest laps, but then I clipped the grass at the entry of turn 1 and went really wide into the gravel. I had lost loads of momentum and the Lambo behind managed to get through. I made a cheeky move into turn 4, the long left-hander, and took back the position. I started pushing really hard, and when the Lambo wasn't falling back, I started pushing even harder. What usually happens when you push to the limit and then push further is a mistake, and this time was no different. Again, I clipped the grass in the entry to the corner, and that sent me flying off. There have definitely been lots of unforced errors so far, and I wonder if it's because I spent loads, and I mean loads of time in the Janetta Junior around here, and that car is much smaller than the GT cars. So I think, okay, the cockpit is here, so there should be this much space, but because the cars are much bigger, there isn't, and I think I need to adjust to that. I stopped pushing as hard now and prepared for the pit stop. When the pit window opened, I came in, and for some reason my pit speed limiter wouldn't turn on, so I was going 5 kph slower than the speed limit to make sure I didn't get a penalty. Now compared to F1, these pit stops take a lifetime, and I've only just got used to turning off the engine when I pull in. So out of the pits in P14 with new tyres, I wanted to make up the positions, but I also just wanted to bring the car home in one piece. Coming out of turn 4, my car double shifted and went up 2 gears, and I have no idea why. After the pit window closed, I was up into P9. With 5.5 minutes left, I almost crashed into a back marker trying to get out of the way. On the final lap, I went off and lost a position. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it back and had to settle for P10. There were way too many unforced errors in that race, and I was really disappointed with P10, so I was hoping for a clean race too. I got a good start and had the inside into turn 1. So when I was driving, I thought I must have not seen him and turned in, but watching the crash back, I can see that I was already turning in and he braked way too late and T-boned me. Now in last place, I needed to push to make up positions. With half an hour to go, I had made my way back up to P11. I started looking after my tyres because after race 1, I learnt that by preserving them, you can push later on when people are struggling. I kept pushing after the pit window opened so that I could finish these tyres, and went to pit. I asked them to repair some of the damage, so the stop took longer and I came out P15. Nothing too interesting happened for the next couple minutes, until I caught up to the Bentley. I got a better exit out of turn 4 and went round the outside and got past, bringing me up into P14.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
With just under a minute left, I got past a Ferrari. I then got a great run out of the final corner and went side by side with the next Ferrari. He got ahead again into turn 1, but I got a much better exit and got past into turn 2. Now I had to get past the Audi on the last lap for P12. I was following close behind, but then I got a much better exit out of turn 4 and got past into the fast left where I crashed in quali.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
I brought it home in P11, and after an incident that was out of my control on lap 1, I think I did well to make a comeback with damage. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm really enjoying this series and I've learned so much already and I can't wait for the next episode. Make sure to like and subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.